Have you ever heard the expression, it's not about the gear, it's how you use it? While that may be true in some cases, having the right gear can make a huge difference. The gear I will show you in this video will take your photography to the next level. Don't go away. Hi, I'm Barry from Photographer's Freedom, and today we're talking about the must-have gear for nature photography. The right gear can mean the difference between a missed shot and an unforgettable masterpiece. Let's look at the gear I recommend to make sure you get the shot every time. There are links in the description to every product featured in this video. Cameras and lenses. A DSLR or mirrorless camera with good low light performance is ideal. However, the best camera is the one you have right now. For lenses, a wide angle lens is perfect for capturing expansive landscapes. If you have a full frame camera, that is anything under 50 millimeters. So 35 millimeters, 24 millimeters, 16 millimeter, and so on. If you have a crop sensor camera, that is anything under 35 millimeters. A telephoto lens is crucial for wildlife, especially birds. So on a full frame camera, that is anything over 50 millimeters, though you want to have at least a 200 or even 300 millimeter lens for best results. I've shot a lot of wildlife photography on a 70 to 300 millimeter and been happy with the results, though I now shoot with a 200 to 600 millimeter lens. I suggest honing your skills on shorter focal lengths and then moving your way up to the longer focal lengths because they are a steep learning curve. A macro lens opens up a whole new world of close-up detail in nature. I have never used a macro lens, but I have used extension tubes. These go between your lens and the camera body and turn any lens into a macro lens. They're a more cost-effective way of getting into macro photography. If you purchase some, make sure they're compatible with your camera's lens mount. You can get active extension tubes that work with the autofocus systems of your lenses, or you can get passive extension tubes that require manual focus. A sturdy tripod is a game changer when it comes to landscapes and long exposure shots. Realistically, you're going to need more than one tripod in your photography journey. I recommend getting a good quality sturdy tripod for landscapes and long exposure shots, a lightweight travel friendly model so you're not weighted down while hiking, and a mini tripod for those times when smaller is better. If you have a camera with in-body stabilization, you may get away with not having a tripod at all. However, if you're shooting long exposure shots, a tripod is a must. If you want to enhance your shot straight out of the camera, you're going to need some filters. A polarizing filter, also called a CPL filter, reduces glare and makes the colors pop. Make sure you get one that's the correct thread size for your lens. ND filters, or neutral density filters, reduce the amount of light that gets into the camera. They allow for stunning long exposure shots like smooth waterfalls or dreamy clouds. They come in various levels of light reduction, so make sure you do some research to get the best one for you. You can also get circular ND filters like this one that change strength as you rotate them. Again, make sure you get the filter that has the correct thread size for your lens. You can get ND plus CPL filters now that allow you to get the effect of a polarizer and an ND filter in the same one. Also available are UV filters. All these do is protect the front glass element of your lens from damage. I used one for I think maybe 2 days until I realized that I could get the same amount of protection by leaving the lens hood on all the time. I think they're unnecessary, but of course the decision is yours. Some lenses are not suitable to use with the lens hood, so if you're paranoid about damage on the glass of your lenses, you might want to buy some UV filters. Make sure you buy the right thread size. Nature is unpredictable, so always carry a rain cover to protect your camera during sudden downpours. Unless you're using high-end gear that is waterproof, you have to have a rain cover. You can find these in various sizes and styles from Amazon or your favorite retailer. There's links in the video description where you can learn more. You can always just keep your camera dry using a Ziploc bag. Watch my video about how to keep your camera dry using a Ziploc bag, linked in the card above and in the description of this video. A lens hood to protect your lens from rain and dust. I always use my lens hoods, I never take them off. They also protect the glass elements from damage, as I've already said. A lightweight, waterproof backpack helps keep your gear safe, easily accessible and dry while hiking. Look for one with easy access panels so you can get to your gear fast when a good shot appears. This is a low pro Flipside 400 AW2. It can be accessed without taking the bag off your hips. I've linked to newer versions of this backpack in the video description. The last thing you want when you're out here in the wilderness is to run out of power or storage. Extra batteries and SD cards are a must. Bring multiples of each. When purchasing SD cards, make sure they're compatible with your camera. Another great idea for sharp, shake-free, long exposure shots is a remote shutter release. This will allow you to take photos without touching the camera, causing vibrations that might ruin your photos. Binoculars are great if you're into bird or wildlife photography. These can help you spot animals off in the distance. They're not too heavy and bulky to carry around, and they come in very, very handy. You can also get them up to your eye much quicker than a heavy camera and long zoom lens. I'll give you an example from my experience of what having the right gear at the right time can do for you. On this particular occasion, I was heading out to do some bird photography. I was going to a location I'd never been to before, so I wasn't quite sure how far I'd have to walk or what the terrain might be like. So I thought, maybe I might take the smaller gear. I'll take my Nikon D5200 with the 70 to 300mm lens because it's smaller and lighter than my Sony A6400 and the 200 to 600mm lens. In the end, I decided to suck it up and take the bigger gear. When I got to the location, there was a feeding frenzy going on. There were white-cheeked honeyeaters, little wattlebirds, olive-backed orioles, dollar birds and spangled drongos, yes, that's what they're called, flying around everywhere, snapping up insects. Had I chosen to take the smaller gear, I never would have captured this shot of a spangled drongo the moment it snapped up this wasp. The 70 to 300mm lens just would not have provided the zoom necessary to capture the detail. Experiences like this have taught me that having the right gear isn't just helpful, it can mean the difference between an average shot and an unforgettable one. Now I want to hear from you. What's your favorite piece of nature photography gear? Drop a comment below. And if you shoot with an older DSLR, watch this video in which I show you how to take amazing photos with any DSLR camera. Until next time, I'm Barry from Photographer's Freedom. Get out here, take some wicked shots. I will see you soon.